The trending story for the past 2 days is that the president of Kenya, President William Ruto, has been hit with a shoe at a rally in a place called Migori. President William Ruto is joining a growing list of public officials and sitting head of states who were assaulted in public. To name a few, Silvio Berlusconi of Victory was punched in the face by a public member who was very angry at him, and there were allegations that he had abused the daughter of this man who punched him in the face, and he started oozing blood there and then.
He was taken to hospital with a broken nose, 2 broken teeth, and a lip injury.
The other one in recent history is President Emmanuel Macron of France, who was also slapped in the face by an angry public member under unclear circumstances. But of course, we cannot forget President George W. Bush, who had to dodge a pair of shoes, not one shoe, but 2 of them thrown at him. By then, he was addressing a press conference in the company of the Iraqi President Noor al-Maliki. Unfortunately for Ruto, he was unable to dodge the shoe completely. The shoe did hit the target. This is Winning Mind, the program, and as a winning mindset program, we have to address from a point of mindset, and we need to look at the reason why someone would throw a shoe at a sitting president. Now, it is my opinion that no one should throw a shoe at a sitting president, a former president, or any presidential material for that matter, because that will not only endanger your life, it's going to endanger the lives of those around you, and of course may put the whole nation in chaos. Before we look at the possible reasons why this may have happened, let us address how it may have happened. Now, there are 3 theories, depending of course on who you ask and how they want to spin the story. And the theory 1 is that there was a scuffle between the 2 factions, and when people were pulling and pushing, a shoe was thrown, unintentionally hitting the president. Theory number 2 is that the president people staged the attack for sympathy in order to blame the opposition or somehow take the limelight away from the opposition that was also holding opposition meeting in some other location. Theory number 3 is that a very angry youth threw a shoe in order to hit President Ruto and make him shut up because he's a liar and he's been lying for a long time. And unfortunately, this is the theory which has gained traction on social media, and most of the youth, especially millennials and Gen Zs, are celebrating the guy who threw a shoe at the president, almost hailing him as nothing short of a hero. Now, regardless of which version you want to believe, the truth is that the outcome is not good for the president. And if it is true that his people actually stage managed someone throwing a shoe at him, he needs to fire those people immediately, because what they have done, they have made him one president who will go down in history as a man that a very dirty, stinking and dusty shoe was thrown in his face while addressing the public. And one more thing about that shoe, it will hit him over and over again. And I'm not talking about physically, but I'm talking about how that shoe is going to be etched in history on social media, in memes and jokes, as a shoe that has hit the presidential face. So either way, this is really very bad for him as a president and for the nation of Kenya. Now, assuming that someone really took out his shoe and hit the president, assuming that that version is true, that a very angry person took the shoe off the feet and threw it at the president, I need to caution people from doing that kind of stuff, because that was a very, very bad idea. It was a very bad decision, and here's why. These are some of the consequences and the repercussions that could come from that action. Number 1, we know the president has a team of highly trained security people who are there to protect him, to ensure his safety and security. In the process of defending the president, when they swing in action, of course, these people don't want to know if there's a woman, a child, a pregnant woman, an elderly man. They usually make sure that they control the crowd, and the means of controlling the crowd may get some people hurt and injured. So that was one of the consequences. That is one of the consequences that may come from doing something like that at the president. And number 2, you also endanger the youth around the area, because what's going to happen is that now there's going to be an investigation, and of course, we know the usual suspect. The youth in that area, because we know especially this president is not very popular with the youth, so the youth in that area of course are going to undergo some serious investigations, and our security people, our security personnel are not known to be very nice while conducting investigations. They are not known to be very sweet and smooth while conducting investigations. So the youth in that area are going to have a very rough time dealing with the national security personnel. But another thing is that any attempt at the life of a sitting president, of course, this is something that can cause national chaos. And what people need to understand is that the president also has supporters. Now, when they see that something like that is happening to their president, they may try, they may become overzealous and try to revenge. And the revenge may be carried out on innocent people perceived to be in opposition or perceived to be opposing the president. And you know, of course, in Africa, when this is happening, the kind of violence which is meted on innocent people. So it was not a very good idea at all. Another consequence, maybe which is far-reaching, of course, this may taint the national image at the international stage. You do not want to be the president who's known that shoes are being thrown at you when you are addressing your people. And of course, you don't want to be the nation that is known to throw shoes at their head of state. So I think the people who are in charge of PR machinery of the president and the ruling coalition, they must do something to ensure and to assure the international community that the president is still the man in charge of the national affairs of the country. Now, another consequence, this one may be purely African. We do not have leaders who are known to overlook petty issues. Of course, I'm not saying that this was a petty issue, but we are not known to have leaders who are known to take the high road. An area like that one, like that Migori County, for example, you might find that this area is going to suffer because of that one incident. And the president may say, these are the idiots who threw a shoe at me, therefore we must make sure that we cut them off from national allocation, from national development. It's ridiculous, but of course that is true. We know that happens in Africa. So that was a very ill-advised decision with so many repercussions, with a lot of consequences. And I want to urge the youth, every time you want to air your grievances, there are ways and means of airing your grievances without endangering yourself and endangering the people around you. So now, to address the elephant in the room, why is this happening? Now, of course, we did mention those three versions that, either they may have stage managed it, either it was an accident, either an angry person may have done it. Now, if it was staged, of course, we cannot talk much about that. What I can say is that it was very, very poor execution, and whoever staged that needs to be fired. If it was an accident, of course, it was accidental. There's nothing much to talk about. But I want to address the fact that if this was really born out of anger and someone threw a shoe at the president, why would someone do something like that? And I want to bring to your attention something. Actually, when I was researching this, I came across this thing called snap point mindset. Now, this is a mindset where someone is very angry, where someone is so frustrated, and then they reach a point where they say, you know what, I don't care anymore. So there's no more patience, there's no more resilience, and then someone says, I must make my voice heard no matter how I do it, no matter what I do. And we have seen this last year, of course, during finance bill protest. We saw youth who are willing to risk it all until they breach the perimeter wall of the parliament. Of course, we know what happened. Eventually, they were shot. Some of them were shot in the head. Some of them were abducted. Others are still missing up to now. And we hope really the victims of that incident can find closure and find their loved ones, those who are still missing. But the youth of Africa have reached this mindset we call snap point mindset, where they say, we have tried everything we could. We have tried to be reasonable. We have tried to be diplomatic. This time around, we have to do whatever we can do to get our message across. Now, the danger is this stage, this mindset, snap point mindset, does not end there. There's a stage higher than snap point mindset. And that mindset is the rebel soul state. It's called rebel soul state. This one is a mindset which is born out of long-standing pain, out of long-standing frustration, out of a lot of emotions that have been piling up. Actually, it reaches a point where it becomes existential. Now, at this point, people are suicidal. This time around, someone is throwing a shoe, but now when it reaches this rebel soul state, people may start throwing other things. People may start throwing stones or even grenades. And I'm saying grenades because in Africa, we are always taken advantage of. Any small thing will be taken advantage of. We have very unscrupulous entities who take advantage of the anger of the people, of the frustrations of the people. So you have very disgruntled youth today who are throwing shoes at the president. But tomorrow, what will happen? These people are going to be given some military training. These people are going to be armed with AK-47s and bombs. And then what's gonna happen? So really, this is something that should not be taken for granted. If at all that shoe was thrown by an angry young man, this shows you how much anger, this shows you how much frustration, this shows you how much people are willing to go to get their voices heard. And unfortunately, the question that we ask today, are people listening? Are people paying attention? In Africa, in Nigeria, in Kenya, and in South Africa especially, you can see how much anger the youth have. The youth are so angry such that recently there was an MP who was gunned down in Kenya, and people were almost celebrating, saying, it is high time that the ruling class started dying too. They were almost hailing the gunner or the assassin as a hero, and they were urging him to do more. Now, if you have a society that has gone, if you have a demographic, a young demographic, a youth demographic that has gone to that extreme, you really need to pause and start asking yourself several questions, because this is not very good. Now, having said that, when you have people who are very angry, when you have people who are emotionally charged, it's not always bad, because if you have smart people in charge, actually this anger, this frustration, these emotions, that passion can be channeled into constructive activities instead of destructive activities. The anger now is destructive because the ruling class, the political class, is not listening. But the moment they start listening, this anger, this frustration, this energy, this passion can be converted and channeled into constructive activities. I remember there was a high school which was very notorious. The students were very, very bad. They were very, very badly behaved. A headmaster after headmaster would come, and then they would resign because they could not handle them. One day came a headmaster who was very smart. So he looked at their anger, he looked at their grievances. Then he said, every time these people want to riot, every time these people are angry and they want to burn things down, I will be telling them that there will be no more learning, and send them to a football field where they can play soccer. He found them a very knowledgeable coach, and then they were coached in matters of soccer. Eventually, that high school became one of the biggest soccer teams in the region. Now, what I'm saying is that if you have smart people in charge, they can channel this anger and this passion in the right direction. But the question is, do we have smart people in charge? Now, for President William Ruto and his government, I believe this was very embarrassing, and for the nation of Kenya, I believe this was regrettable. But hey, there's always a silver lining at the end of every dark cloud. Take, for example, this song called Uliza Kiatu, which means ask the shoe in English. This song was produced years back, but because of this one single incident, the views on YouTube has shot in thousands of views because of that one single incident, and people are associating that shoe throwing scenario with a man trying to tell the president, ask my shoe how much I'm suffering, ask my shoe how much I'm frustrated, ask my shoe how much the cost of living has gone bad. Ask my shoe. And it's a beautiful song, by the way. I recommend that you go and watch it. Beautiful, beautiful song by Had the Band. It used to be my favorite back in the day when it was released. If you watch this video to the end, you are a very good person. Please celebrate by hitting the like button, the bell icon, and share with your friends. And also, please go in the comment section, tell us what you think, and tell us what kind of content you'd like to see on our channel. And if you are watching without subscribing to our channel, I am watching you with my left shoe in my hand, ready to let fly. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in the next video. Bye bye.